All right, welcome back to the Progress Project podcast. Today is our first guest episode since the rebrand, and today we are joined by Mo Samuels. How are we, mate?
What is happening, guys? I'm absolutely fantastic.
Quality stuff. So
Beautiful.
the reason why we wanted to get Mo on was because me and Sam have both been following Mo for a little while, but more importantly, we think that his kind of attitude towards life in general is one that we think young men should really adopt, because I feel like there is a lot of benefits to it. But usually we like to give a bit of a background towards our guests, kind of say what they do. But you don't really have like a certain job, do you? Kind of just do a lot of stuff. So for anybody that's listening, do you want to kind of like give a little introduction about yourself, a bit of background as to what you do?
Yeah. So basically, right, I'm a bit rusty because I haven't done a podcast in a while. Obviously, I stopped doing my ones. But yeah, in summary, as brief as possible, I'm most known for YouTube and other things. I started off doing fitness, like purely fitness, making like fitness videos on YouTube. Those kind of blew up. And then I was with like Gymshark back in the day, doing all the fitnessy stuff. And then my content has kind of transitioned to more like as I've got older and like wanted to like grow my mind as well as my body and other things, like kind of transition more to like learning about like improving mentally and just like a bit beyond fitness. And then on the flip side, I've kind of like completely stepped away from fitness as well with the YouTube content, just like making like partying lifestyle, like having a good time kind of videos. But yeah, man, YouTube, Instagram, kind of fitness is the foundation, and then everything else in between, like music, lifestyle, partying, etc. But I just say to people that I'm a creator. Like I fucking love creating shit. Anything, whatever it is, music, visuals, like I love to create.
Yeah, and you've obviously got your fingers in a lot of different pies, to be fair. Like you just have to look at your link tree and the list goes on of the amount of things the amount of things that you're involved in. But more recently you've been getting into producing music, haven't you?
Yeah. So I kind of keep it separate. I don't really use my like big social media platform to push it, because I feel like it's something that I want to earn organically rather than like leveraging off my following. Maybe I'm an idiot, maybe like that's just my ego, but yeah, dude, I absolutely love music. It's like a massive passion of mine. I'm kind of prioritizing music production at the minute. I've been doing it for a few years, and that's kind of something that I see myself doing in the future.
So it's not just like a side hobby, you actually want to produce and like DJ proper sets and stuff.
Absolutely, man. Well, I've got what I'm playing tonight in a few hours, actually. But it's like it's a difficult one. Like I'm not stupid. I know that it's an incredibly difficult thing to get into that everyone wants to do. But equally, I'm kind of stupid enough to believe that if you put enough hours into anything, or you want something badly enough and you outwork the other people in the field, like I can fucking do it. And it's like, obviously YouTube and stuff has given me the confidence, because it's not luck that I am where I am with my socials and other things. Like, yeah, I could be bigger, but the reason I am where I am is because of like, I've seen something, I've wanted it, and I've put so much time and energy into doing it. And I believe that if you want anything, you can, and you go in with that mentality, like you can fucking get it.
Sweet. And like, where'd you get that mindset from? Have you always had that, or was it like a certain mindset shift, or what?
I don't know, dude. Maybe I'm just like incredibly big-headed, but no, I don't know what it comes from. Maybe like, I know this is kind of all getting really deep and like sentimental, but maybe it comes from the problems that I have with my health when I was younger, my legs, like being in hospital, like spending months in like agonizing pain, not being able to walk, told I was probably never going to run again, and live with like debilitating arthritis and all this shit, like all the health problems that I've had. I think like overcoming that and going through all that after being told I couldn't and saying like fuck you to everyone kind of gave me like a lot of confidence, in the sense that like, oh, if I can do this, like what's to stop me from doing anything else?
Yeah, you've definitely been through like a lot of adversity. Would you say that like adversity, just like general adversity throughout your life, has like been the main sort of driver for you to just do anything that you want to do? Like, or you've gone through like those low times and you're just like, right, I'm here now, let me do something that I want to do to sort of like propel my life in a better way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd say it's absolutely contributed to well, dude, it is responsible for the lifestyle that I live, like the way that I live and the job that I do, because I didn't really think about this, man, until recently. I did a Q&A. I didn't answer the question, but someone was like, what did they say? That someone asked me, what's something that you've never spoke about publicly, but is like a big thing for you? And I was like, I kind of sat and like reflected on that, and the something I've never spoken about is like my entire life in terms of how I've got no boss. I work when I want to work, I get up when I want to get up, I do what I want to do. Like that entire life that I've set out for myself, I've done deliberately, because like I've known from a very young age that if I had like a normal job where I was like on my feet, where I was doing something, where I was getting bossed around, where I couldn't be my own boss, I would be like disabled by the time I'm in my like mid to late 20s because of the condition of my leg. Like, I can't stand up for long periods of time, or my leg starts to swell, and it's like if that went on and on and on, I'm gonna be like pretty crippled. So yeah, man, there's a point. I'll shut up in a minute once I've vomited this out. But there's a point where I was I always wanted to. One of the things I wanted to do was work on film, work on big like feature films, and I got this job on a TV series. It's by the same guy that does a Netflix series, by the same guy that does Sons of Anarchy. And I remember I was like probably like maybe 19 when I got this, and like I was like super pumped, super excited, because this is what I want to do. Like I was going to uni. I did marine biology at university, and my plan was to do marine biology at uni, learn about like the science and stuff, and then on the side I'd work on films, and then with that I would like go around the world like filming Blue Planet and stuff like in like nature documentaries, what I wanted to do. And anyway, first day on the job in film, and I was like super pumped, got there, and then it was like a brutal like 12-hour day, like freaking long. And I got home and my leg was just an absolute fucking bits from one day. And I got home and I like cried, man, because I was like, everything I've planned for in my life, like I can't do, like I cannot do this. So that was kind of like, that was the point where I was really like right, I need another plan.
Yeah, and obviously from that, like you've then had the ability to just like not take no for an answer, or just like not really give a fuck about like what other people think about you, because you're kind of at a position now where you're like, you're doing what you want to do in life, and you're, as you said, getting up every day doing the same thing that you've always wanted to do. So like, how have you started to like not give a fuck? Or when was the time where you're like, right, I just like, I'm gonna do me, and I'm not really gonna care about what other people think about me in that sort of way?
Man, I think a lot of people think that, or if you like look at me, if you follow my stuff, you're like, oh yeah, this guy just doesn't give a shit kind of thing. But I do care about the opinions of others, although I would love to be like some super being that doesn't give a shit about anything at all. Like I still do get like anxious and like socially like nervous about things, but it's just like trying to it's like a muscle, man. It's like the more you train it, the less like of fucks you're going to give about things. And I think like caring about the opinions of others and stuff is so debilitating, but it's kind of like how we as people like work. So it's like you're trying to like resist this incredibly big force by like not caring about the opinions of others. And I think the only way you can like move away from that or start to like give less of fucks is by like deliberately training it and being like willing to, I very cliche again, but like willing to get scared and step outside of your comfort zone. Like the like, for example, the analogy of like, is another funny, take it or leave it, is another one from my like a past life. Is like I wear like a black suspender on my leg, and like when I was younger and had to wear like a compression bandage, it's like below knee, it's like literally over my shin pretty much. I was like so caught up in that, like I thought it was horrendous, and I thought it looked like no one was ever going to love me because I had this like stupid thing on my leg. And and I used to like get changed, man, like in the disabled toilet, so like no one would see it and all this shit. And like if I had a girl around, I would like, it's pretty like kind of almost embarrassing to talk about, I would like get changed in the dark or whatever, or what, just like really hide this like little black leg support on my leg, and I thought my life was over. And then it like got like a whole lot worse. Like now I literally wear a full leg suspender, and like my leg has its days, it's pretty fucked, and I've been through all this shit with it. It's almost like no matter how bad you think you've got it, you can always have it worse. And it's like, as I've got older, I've realized that no one really gives a shit about your problems and insecurities. The only person that really cares is yourself, and you think like you're the center of the universe. And I think that's kind of a big one that's really helped me in terms of like not giving a shit, and deliberately doing things that like make you scared. For example, like walking around in central London in like a pair of Speedos and like a big black leg suspender on, or going to a festival just wearing Speedos. It's like, it's like that thought like would petrify me. But now like I've done it, for example, like now that I've done that, like I've pushed the boundary that much further because I've stepped outside of my comfort zone, suddenly everything below that seems fine. Like if I meet a chick and if we like sleep together, for example, like I won't even bother taking this leg suspender off because it's too much effort to put back on. Like I literally couldn't care any less, man. So yeah.
I was
don't going to say, don't walk around London with Speedos though all the time. I was only once.
Yeah, only once. Yeah, dude. Well, I'm back in the game. Good. Whatever you wanna. Let's go. I'm back for brutally interrupting you uploading my YouTube.
No worries. Life of a influencer, because I know you love to be called that way. Gonna leave in a minute. But obviously you were speaking about your leg there a second ago. So one thing that I've actually learned from you, I've heard on your podcast, is about happiness, and how you've previously said like happiness is pretty much a choice, or Alex said on the RET podcast, listen to one of those as well, he was saying like how reality is neutral, like nobody's actually out to get you, it's just how you perceive things. I thought that's quite like a powerful realization kind of thing. So what I want to know is happiness a choice? Can you always be happy? And what is the key to achieving a positive mindset, would you say? Hard question, I know.
All right, so like I'll break it down. So what was the first bit?
Is happiness a choice?
Okay, so I've kind of been slacking on my spiritual readings lately. So I don't know, not to give you a textbook beautiful answer like recited from Sam Harris's Mind or Eckhart Tolle or something. But yeah, is happiness a choice, man? I'd say yes, it is. It's not something that you can be like, oh yes, I'm going to be happy, or everyone would be happy. But it is something that you are able to consciously control if you are like if you have trained your mind in the right way, like through meditation and yada yada. I'm not to get onto all these deep spiritual roots, but yeah, like I think that if you're always focusing on the things that you don't have, and you're always focusing on like getting, like obviously setting goals is good, but you're always like, I'll be happy when I get this, or you're like, I want this item, like this will make me happy, whatever it is. If you're always focusing on these things and you're making up these reasons that you're going to be happy when you achieve this like materialistic thing or whatever it is, like you're actually never going to be happy, and you're probably going to be more miserable. And it's an odd one, because it's like I look at people on social media, like I really like Jay Alvarez's stuff, for example, and he posted something yesterday about being miserable and down. But like I'm fully aware, which is kind of like a blessing, because like I know that people look up to me as well, and they're like, oh, like your life is crazy, your content is so sick, blah blah blah. But like living this life feels absolutely no different from the life that I lived like before I did any of it. Like it's weird, man. Like it's like I'm not trying to be humble or anything, but I'm not like a special snowflake in any way whatsoever. Like it's like I feel exactly the same. I have all the same stresses and issues and anxieties regardless of where I'm at. And then I look at people that I know that are absolutely killing it, like with tens of millions of followers that are making like millions of dollars, and like they're going to feel the exact same way as well. Like they're going to have the same problems and the same like worries and the same concerns. And then it's like I've got very close friends as well that are kind of in that situation. It's like, but I know that they have what people would like literally die for, like in terms of lifestyle, in terms of money, in terms of like looks, etc. But they are absolutely miserable because they think that achieving all this success is going to make them happy, but then they get to this point of success, and then they're like, now what? And they realize it doesn't fulfill them, it doesn't make them happy. So they're like, that they become deeply depressed and miserable, because it's like they're pinning all their hopes in this one thing that is an illusion. The whole reality is neutral thing. It's almost like kind of appreciate what you have in the present moment, and like yada yada yada.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually reading Eckhart Tolle's other book. Was it A New Worth? I think it's called. Again, it's actually really good. It's a bit similar to Power of Now, but it's still good. And one of the things it said in there was just like, if you go looking for happiness, you'll never kind of find it, type of thing. Which I know sounds like a bit spiritual, but it is a good point, to be fair. But one thing I found really interesting, and you kind of mentioned it there about, really successful people as well, is like, you always wanted to get, I think it was like 100,000 subscribers or YouTube or something like that. And if you asked anybody like, oh, do you want 100,000 followers or 100,000 subscribers, they'll probably say yeah, because they think, oh, if I get that, my life would be like sorted, I'll be really happy. But it didn't actually make you happy. Why is that?
I wouldn't say it didn't make me happy, because like, okay, don't get me wrong, like I fucking love it, and like obviously there's ego involved as well, but like the reason I love it is like, I like people, and like there's nothing, like it's so cool. Like the best thing in the world is like, if I'm at a festival and like someone comes up to me and is like, oh, you Mo Samuels, like, I followed your content for years. It's like, we just get on like that. And it's like being able to have that like level of connection with strangers, and like meet people, and like, I don't know, just vibe with them such like a good level, is like one of the best things. It's so fucking good. It's one of the only things that I really do love about social media bit. But going back to your question about the 100,000 followers, like yeah, man, it's you set this goal, for example, like 100,000, and when you're just starting out, that seems like an impossibly huge number. And then like I got there, and I was like nothing changes, like nothing happens, nothing changes. The only thing that's different is a number on the screen, and you've now met that goal, and that you no longer have a goal to strive towards. That's literally it, and why so many people drop off, dude. So like my 100,000 subscriber plaque, for example, it was in a box somewhere, like under my, I think it was in like somewhere tucked away, like beneath loads of shit. And it was there for months. Like I don't really care about it. Same with and basically I just gave it to my little sister, because I was like, do you want this? Like it seems like it's a big thing, but then you get it, and it's like
fair enough. So in terms of like social media, because obviously social media is such a massive thing, it's a part of your whole sort of kind of career, even though you don't like to say that you're a social media influencer, you do influence a lot of people positively. But like, what is your just general opinions on social media? Because there was a time where you didn't want to be on social media anymore. Why? What was going through your mind at that time when you were having those sort of thoughts, like whether I want to be on social media or not?
So it's like that comes down to like two things really. Number one is like a sunken cost fallacy. So the idea that when we've invested so much time into something, we have to continue to invest time into it because of the previous time that we've invested, even if it isn't going anywhere. And like I said, man, like having X amount of followers, whatever, doesn't feel like a big thing. So like I've got enough of the ego to like, if I do something, I want to be the fucking best at it. Like I don't want to be okay. Like I want to absolutely excel at it. So it's kind of like, okay, is this a sunk cost fallacy because like my numbers have slowed down, my growth has slowed down and other things. And that was one of the reasons behind like the coming off socials and other bits. I was like, okay, like I don't want to just continue like mediocrely. I want to do something I'm going to fucking absolutely excel at and smash. And the second thing is as well, is it's like, it's like social media, like I don't like how much I use it. Like I delete it from my phone pretty much every other day, just so I don't accidentally click on it. And it's like you're a dog. Like when you sit there, you are bored, and you will just instantly click on the app. It's like you're trained and you're conditioned just to open this social media and I like go on it. And the way that none of us are like able to be bored. It's kind of like, call it mind control, whatever. It's ultimately like it's very destructive for your success and your productivity and other things, because the amount of times like you open up your phone, the amount of times you just aimlessly scroll through Instagram, the amount of hours that you spend just like automatically just absorbing shit because of the millions of dollars being invested in like trying to steal your attention, it takes away from like everything, every other
instant gratification, isn't it? Really, it's
literally,
just constantly,
mate. Yeah, literally, like our brains are set up to like, we want novelty, we want new things, and that's exactly what like notifications etc provide us with.
Just a heads up, boys, it says gonna end in 10 minutes.
I see. It's all good.
Yeah, all right, but I'll jump back in. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. But yeah, like speaking about instant gratification, like social media, I actually tried to take a social media break for like a few days, which like you'll realize if you don't delete the apps on your phone, it's actually pretty much impossible to do it, because out of force of habit, you click on like Instagram without even thinking about what you're doing, just because you're so used to doing it. But I did actually end up deleting them. And then what I realized I ended up doing was just scrolling through my emails, or as soon as I get an email, reading it, because it's just like, you just want something, like every little ping on your phone, you just get like addicted to it.
It's why it's a dopamine hit, man. It's literally like, it's like doing a little line of cocaine every time you get one of those notifications. It's like, bro, it's crazy, because like there's this what was it? So for example, like when I think I did, was it 2 weeks? I can't remember if it's 2 weeks or 30 days. Basically, I like when I came off socials, I deleted like every social media platform and came off it completely and did nothing. Like I basically did dopamine detox. And I did like, during this time as well, I did an hour of meditation every day. That's fucking brutal. Yeah. Hardest thing I've ever done in my life, man. And I would find myself like opening up my phone and just like going to click on like nothing, because I'm so conditioned to like click on these social. And it was like the first few days, mate, I felt like really anxious. I felt like something in my life was like, had like someone in my life that I loved had died. It was like, it was scary how like addicted I was to it. Then after that time period, like towards the end, like I felt so much more happier and like quote unquote free, and like not being a slave to that, man.
I'm actually really interested, just as you talked about an hour meditation there, like is there a kind of like a cut-off point where 20-30 minutes you're kind of like deep into it, and then after 40 minutes you just think like, this is just uncomfortable,
this just hurts?
Mate, like, so I do this thing as well where like when I meditate, I refuse to move. So like no matter how much, like I will not move a muscle, no matter how much pain I'm in, no matter how like if I've got an itch, like I will, because it's
you're
like
a true monk.
Well, yeah, absolutely, dude.
Really
like,
embracing pain.
well, dude, it's like the ultimate purpose of meditation is like to be free of this illusion of self that you are, that there is this like little voice inside your head. So by like responding to these things that you are experiencing, you are reinforcing the illusion of self. So if you've got an itch and you itch, you're like, I have an itch, I'm itching it because I am a little voice in my head and I have this self. So if you learn to literally like meditate on the pain, so like how you focus on your breath, you just focus on the strongest stimulus. So obviously people on the most people understand that. Close your eyes, you focus on your breath appearing in consciousness, and that's like the most like basic level of meditation, to kind of observe your thoughts. And then if there's like a stronger stimulus, for example, you're in pain, you can like, you shouldn't try and block out the pain. You should try and like focus intensely on the pain and like use it as a source of meditation. But yeah, dude, when I was doing those hours, like, so physically, probably after about 20 minutes, quite often my legs would begin to cramp or go dead. Like that was absolutely excruciating sometimes. And then as well, like mentally, I don't know if I'm like skewing it slightly, like the time frames of things, but when I first started, I think for the first like week or so, or even like, I don't know if it is throughout the duration, like I would actually find myself during these like periods of like 1 hour meditation getting like incredibly anxious like during it. So I'd get like a lump in my throat. I'd feel like cortisol, like I'd get really anxious and quite stressed. But whether that's me like tapping into a part of my brain that needs addressing or what, I kind of think it is, who knows. But it's like, it was like emotionally and physically demanding, man, like incredible training. But yeah,
I think actually like meditation, spirituality is a really interesting topic, because as soon as you said like spirituality, people just think of like some old guy sitting on top of a mountain or whatever. But like meditation is specifically, I think, has a lot of benefits to it. But like, do you think kind of the whole idea of like increasing your consciousness or whatever, like, is there benefits to it, or like what are they? Because people kind of just see it as close your eyes and sit there and do nothing.
Yes, so I think that there, it's like I used to be man, like you said, like I used to be the person that would laugh or turn their nose up at anything like spiritual, and be like, this is stupid as fuck. But there is actual like solid science behind it in terms of like effects on stress, effects on your immune system, effects on like you as a person, and yeah, dude. So going full circle, like back to like not giving a fuck. It's like if you're self-aware enough to, if you're like able to kind of comprehend the fact that you don't matter and you are not like this individual, you're not this like self, you don't have to be like spiritually enlightened or anything, but if you have that in the back of your head, then like opinions and judgments by others and things that you're worried about socially suddenly become like less obsolete. So I wouldn't say that meditation has like made me like any more like enlightened or anything like that, but it's definitely made me more like aware, like aware of my own self, my habits or behaviors, but able to take like a more, what's the word, where you view yourself,
different perspective on
mindfulness.
Okay,
more mindful of my behaviors and actions.
And that's actually a really interesting thing, like as you said, it's like you kind of don't see yourself as a person, you kind of learn to take things, you don't take things personally, so you kind of give less of a fuck about things. So obviously we've just touched on like overcoming fear a bit there, and the problem, well, from my experience, what I've seen being at uni and stuff, like people have a lot of ambition. It's not that people don't have any ambition, but they just don't know how to get started, or the idea of getting started and the fear of getting started just outweighs their ambition. But from somebody like yourself, who's obviously started a YouTube channel, put yourself out there, started businesses, obviously like Motech Labs, you've launched your, I don't really know what to call it, but like a personal development site, pretty much, RET. Like, how do you get started and like pretty much overcome that fear, even when you do have ambition? Like, instead of wasting it, how do you put it to work? What do you say?
I think it's almost like with me, like I think a lot about things, and it's almost like the fear of like of not doing something and the fear of failing and it not happening outweighs the fear of trying it and it failing. So like, okay, so if you want to do something, right, and you're scared about doing it because like, and you're putting it off, you're procrastinating, whatever it is, or you never get going with it, the reason, like on the fundamental level, the reason that you're doing that is because you're scared of failing. Like, you don't want it to go wrong, and then like if you really want to do this thing, it doesn't work out, then your like dreams are shattered, and it's probably not going to feel very, very nice. You like self-sabotage. But by not starting, you are guaranteeing that failure. Like, that failure is 100% occurring because you're not even beginning. So it's like, why? So by living like a life of fear and not doing something, that failure is 100% guaranteed. Versus if you just like start, if you, whatever it is, if you just start doing something rather than nothing, if you just do fucking anything, then it's probably blown out of proportion in your head. There's probably only a slim chance that you're going to fail versus quite a big chance that you're going to succeed. And even if you do fail, you're going to be in the exact same place that you were previously before you started, but you didn't start because you're too scared of failing. So the only difference is you're giving yourself a shot at succeeding.
It's about getting over your brain's like sort of psychology in a way, isn't it? Because we're like risk averse. We don't want to do anything that is going to lead to any sort of risk towards our life. So people don't actually start because they just think, oh, there's a potential for failure, but they don't think, oh, there's also a potential for success.
But then you can use that same brain system, or like if you know that we avoid loss at all costs, we like don't want to, because we are loss averse by nature. If you're like able to, let's say you're able to visualize and really like meditate on this thing that you want, imagine it never happening or getting like stripped away from you, and you never achieve any of those things because you never even started. You can kind of like, it's like a stoic principle, like envisioning loss, but like kind of envisioning imaginary loss. You can imagine like getting this thing actually taken away from you that you could have had if you would have worked towards it or just started it. So it's like using that same system that kind of fucks you, using it to benefit you.
Yeah, that's quality. And another big thing when it comes to self-development, and that's helped me and Sam massively, is obviously reading books. I know that you read a lot of books yourself. It's probably going to be a hard question because you have read a lot of books, but what would you say is or a few most influential books, would you say?
Oh, difficult one. I would say I've got a bookshelf like of my favorite books next to my bed. I'd say off the top of my head, like right now, Never Split the Difference. That's a really good one, especially if you're like, for anyone at all. I think Never Split the Difference is an absolutely like essential one. It just talks about like negotiating, how to get your own way in sales, how to get stuff for cheaper, how to like win in a conversation, in an argument, whatever. That's like
people skills.
Pretty much, yeah. So it's from an ex-FBI negotiator called Chris Voss, and it talks about like just like how to like setting anchors, like if I was to buy something off you, how to like get the best price, etc., etc. But it kind of translates to everything. So Never Split the Difference is an absolutely massive one. Atomic Habits by James Clear, that's an absolutely massive book as well, like really, really good. The what are we going to say next? Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, that just basically goes over his time at the concentration camps and just what he learned from that experience, and about suffering and happiness, etc., etc. Like finding meaning in your suffering is kind of a way to get through it. Like those are really good. And then a couple of other quick fire ones. What have we done? Happy by Darren Brown's really good. Quite slow to get started, but that's really good as well. Power of Now, Waking Up Sam Harris. And a couple more that I'm going to give you. One I read recently, really good, was Deep Work. Oh, there's something else I was going to say.
I want you to say it because I think I know.
The Motivation Manifesto.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way he's not going to say that.
The Motivation Manifesto. And then there's one more, but
go on, one more.
I can't really think of it right now. I've probably missed it.
If it comes back to you, let us know.
Well, that's a huge amount of value for people listening.
If
you order all those books, then
you're good to go.
The Motivation Myth. Motivation Myth is another good one. Grit and The Power of Discipline as well.
We got enough books for a while now.
Yeah, it's like 12. Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, I am a little bit conscious of time, so we'll pretty much just wrap it up with a few last little topics. But just like a little quick fire question: if you could only keep one self-development habit, what would it be? So meditation, reading, journaling, whatever.
I'd say, it's a difficult one, man. It's gonna be between like reading and meditation.
Okay.
So I couldn't actually, because there's other. It's like what do you class as meditation? Because how do you define meditation? Like if I'm like,
meditation could be like going to the gym. Like that's a lot of people's meditation, isn't it?
Like walking and focusing on your footsteps. You could like say that's meditation. So I would say reading, man, because I could find substitutes for like typical meditation. But rather than sitting with my eyes closed, focusing on my breath. But if it was like any kind of meditation, I'd go meditation.
Cool. Quality. So just to pretty much round it off,
don't you worry about time. It's not the end of the world. If you need to.
It's all right. I think we've covered a solid amount. Don't stress it. But two big questions come up. So is there any particular advice you'd give to young guys like ourselves, or people leaving uni, that kind of position, who are wanting to do something with their life, but feel like a little bit lost, or they're just at the stage in their life where they're young, they do have their whole life ahead of them, but they just don't really know what to do, where to go, and they've got a little bit of ambition. So what kind of advice would you give them?
Okay, so I'd say, first of all, like the uni example is move out of your parents' house as soon as possible, because it's like that's a cause for a lot of misery for a lot of people. And it's like, okay, like if you get on really well with your parents and you want to sort your life out and you don't mind it, like fair enough, it's not the end of the world. But also like you've kind of got to realize that like a lot of people that I know anyway, like they don't necessarily want the life that their parents live. And it's like if you're living in your parents' house, it's you're gonna adopt their habits and behaviors and other things. And it's like whilst you might love them to bits, it might not be like the future that you want to see for yourself. So I would say like even if it seems like financially non-viable or difficult, you don't know how you're going to manage it, you will find a way, like move out, because for that reason, and also like financially you will find a way to make money. You will find it will apply pressure for you to actually succeed and do well in things. So moving out's a big one. I'd say as well, secondly would be to take risks. You can kind of tie it onto the first one, like literally like you're only going to be young once, you're only going to be in your 20s once. Like they say your 20s is the best years of your life. So like take big financial risks, take risks like doing stuff, take risks meeting people, just do things that are almost irresponsible. I always say like if you're on the fence about something, or like if you're not sure, if there's like a smidge of yes, just fucking do it. Like literally just do it. And what was the can you remind me the question again?
Is there any particular advice you give to young men or people leaving uni wanting to do something with their life?
Okay, and thirdly, I'd say in terms of like wanting to do something with your life is like something that I've realized recently, it's kind of like a bit of an epiphany that I've had building over the last few months is no matter like you can come up with all these excuses and all these reasons why you can't do something, or why you can't have something, or why you haven't achieved something, like, oh, I need to get this new camera, or oh, I need to get this, I need to get that, I don't have time because of work, I need to get a video editor. Like you can come up with all these reasons as to why like where you're not where you want to be, like all these external things, but ultimately absolutely everything comes down to is how much time you are willing to invest. Like there is no shortcuts to putting the hours in and just doing something. So literally just find something, like have something to aim towards, and then just like break it down to smaller steps, and then just do something every single day that will move you towards that thing. And it's like as long as you're doing something consistently, it doesn't matter like what excuses you have. Like there is no way to cheat hard work. Like it's literally like the most sure way thing. Like you put enough hours into something, it will pay off, and that's the only way that you can get like very good at something. Like two things breaking that down again is like time spent like developing a skill is incredibly important. So like consistent reoccurring time doing something again and again and again. And then secondly, like I kind of off on a bit of a tangent, but if you want to get good at that skill, whatever it is, asking someone that's better than you for critical feedback and advice, like getting over your own ego, not being bothered by the fact that like they're gonna tell you whatever you're doing is bad, and like those two things are going to make you progress the fastest, basically.
I don't know about you, but that got me pretty pumped.
Yeah.
That got me so pumped.
Let's go.
Let's go.
If you ever want to quit social media, just do some motivational speaking, right?
Mate, well, dude, I fucking
Life
love to. Yeah, I did do a little bit, but I just run out of time. But yeah, man, I don't know. I just get into like if when I'm in a flow state, I can take things quite well, or speak my mind quite well. So it's what it is.
So probably the last question for us as well, just a selfish question.
Yeah.
From us two,
mate, don't you worry.
Is who would you recommend that we now get on the podcast next after getting you on?
Who have you had?
We've had Labumba.
Okay.
I know he's a good friend of yours, and we've had a few local online coaches in our sort of area.
Coaches,
that was when we were, like,
I'd say
coaches.
I'd say if you can get him, I would go Zach Perner, because like I had a really good podcast with him that we did together. I really enjoyed it. So feel free to send him this clip. Zach, come on their podcast. I recommended you, and they're top lads, and you can share a lot of value and you'll enjoy it. But yeah, I'd say Zach, if you can get him, is a good one. Joey D might be quite a hard fish to catch because like he was difficult for me to like get on my podcast. But yeah. And then other than that, man,
I'm thinking either the RET boys, Alex.
Tom. Get Tom.
Yeah,
100%. Alex and Tom, like definitely both of those, because Tom's obviously going through his prep right now. He's been like absolutely disgustingly disciplined. Like the level of focus and like that guy is fucking smashing it. It's so cool to see as well, man. Like when me and Tom first met, for example, like he was we met in a gym. He was at uni. He was like a broke uni student, like just going out with the lads, like not very like crap physique, like skinny guy, not very confident. And now he's completely changed his life around. Like his coaching service is absolutely killing it. He actually coaches me. He's making a ton of money. He's doing really well, and he's like so disciplined and laser focused. And same with Alex, man. Like when I met Alex, he was working in London, like what's the word, like soul crushing, like a 9 till 6 job, whatever it was. He absolutely hated it. Yeah, he was making good money. Then he took the risk to move down to here in Plymouth in Devon, and like hasn't looked back since, and has completely changed his life around as well. So yeah, Tom and Alex are the good ones as well, mate. Definitely get those boys on.
Just quickly as well, based on that, like just another question, like how important is environment then? Because obviously you three boys live together, and you've just told us how you've all basically like come up together as well.
So important, man. Like it's so fucking, I think environment is everything, and there's a lot to be said for like, because it's okay if I don't want to make it too spiritual or anything, but okay, let me backtrack.
Go for it, mate. Go for it.
Obviously, that a lot of our personality is imprinted on us, like the behaviors and habits that we have, we learn and we acquire throughout our life. So there's the saying that I think it's based on a study, actually. Don't quote me to this, but we are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You will make the average of the average money of the 5 people you spend the most time with, etc. So like I think environment, and that's what I said about moving out, environment is absolutely fucking everything, because like the people that you spend your time with are going to be they're going to be the people that kind of set up the way that you view reality. So like that's basically that, to be honest. Like incredibly important. Like living at home, like with my parents, for example, like I got deeply unhappy and miserable and depressed just because I felt like the type of person that I was becoming there wasn't, like I said, I love them to bits, I'll do anything for them, but the type of person that I was becoming there wasn't the type of person that I wanted to be, you know.
Sweet. So lastly, like plans ahead, what you got planned? You got RET, any more like Motec lab products coming out, Wob clothing, anything like that?
Yeah, so we've got some stuff on the pipeline for Motec. We're just confirming that and seeing what happens. We have a few new products coming out. Pretty excited about those. We got some t-shirts and other bits coming out as well. Really nice custom oversized stuff. In terms of like overall business stuff as well, like RET, obviously we're just taking on someone to edit those to like take that to the next level, so we can get more consistent with it and like start to pump out the content. But
just quickly on there, do you want to explain what RET is as well? For all
RET is Real Evolution Training. So it's myself, Tom, and Alex. We own this membership site, and it's basically mainly aimed at guys, but it's kind of aimed at improving like physically, socially, and mentally, like the kind of 3 pillars that we base everything around. And we create video content. We do like a weekly podcast on there. We have training plans on there, exercise library, forums, etc. But it's just like a really good way to like create a community of like-minded individuals. So like I understand that not everyone is going to be able to move out. Like not everyone is people might still be in college or uni or school, whatever, or they're in like a less than ideal circumstance. But like by having RET and having like a community of people that are like all going to support each other and like willing to grow, it's like it's got a bit of a cult following, man. It's fucking awesome. It's like it's creating that environment where people want to do better, and like just lifting each other up and surrounding yourself with like people that are on this kind of like similar journey. But yeah, dude, in terms of like businesses and other stuff, like at the moment I'm just focusing on socials, music, and then making money from those 2 things as well, just because like, I really want to support my mum and my family, my little sisters, etc., and kind of give back to them. But another thing, man, I'll just chuck in some more knowledge because you've got my brain. You can tell I'm ADHD. Yeah. I never shut up. Another thing is like I'm not gonna. There's only so much that you can do as well. So like I got to a stage, like the more successful you become, this is like one that I give to you lads, the more successful you become, the more things there are that demand your attention and time, like miscellaneous admin tasks and other things, people like wanting you to get on podcasts, for example, but I've actually enjoyed it, so don't worry, I get asked all the fucking time. And like you have to learn to say no, and you have to learn to say like no to businesses and like no to other things, because like if you're spreading yourself too thin, then everything's going to fail. And I feel like I got to a point like maybe a few years ago where I started to say yes to loads of things, and because of that, the thing that made me successful, like the content I was producing, massively suffered because I had so much more on my plate. I got really stressed, and then that started to deteriorate. And then it's like spreading myself too thin. You need to focus on like a few like key main things rather than taking fucking everything on at once. Say no to people, man. Like, yeah.
Will we get more podcasts from you in the future though? Because I'm missing them.
Oh, dude, I get so
missing them so much. That's what got me into podcasts. I swear. I think you were definitely the first person that I listened, like the first podcast that I listened to. I think it was Labumba's one, the one that you did with Labumba.
Well, I'll either go on to more. All right, I don't want to make false promises, but like I'm not going to promise anything, okay? Because I might just backtrack.
Go to the RET then. Go to RET. I'll do. Listen to him on RET.
We do a weekly podcast on RET. That's like just us three like chatting about like everything and anything. But like in terms of my own personal podcast, obviously it's one of the things I cut because I run out of time. I wanted to focus on YouTube, but like I don't know. I need to start doing like either a podcast with someone else a month, just so like people can hear my fucking fantastic voice.
Yes.
or I need to like or I just need to give like one episode out of my own a month. But yeah, man, it's like it is something that's on the forefront of mind. Like you get loads of messages about it. I think it gives a lot of people value, but it's like at what cost is all these little things? You know,
yeah, cool. So lastly, mate, like where can people find you? Socials, plug them.
Yeah. So at Mo Samuels on Instagram, just search Mo Samuels, MOSAMUELS on YouTube. And that's pretty much everything that I'm on, really. Just search my name. I should come up.
Sweet. We'll leave a link to a RET in the description as well if anybody wants to check that out.
Beautiful, mate. I appreciate it.
No worries. But that is it for today's podcast. So thank you very much for coming on, Mo. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We didn't bore you too much.
I loved it. I'm a social media influencer, so I'm an egomaniac. Yeah. So if I get the chance to speak about myself for an hour, like I have a great time. Yeah.
But yeah, that is it for today's podcast. So hopefully you did enjoy. Make sure to check out Mo's socials in the description. Check out RET if you want to be interested in that. But apart from that, hopefully you enjoyed today's podcast. Feel free to subscribe or follow us on whatever platform you're listening on, or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Apart from that, we will catch you in the next one.